Hi everyone, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, we have some news out there. We have a cruise line offering free insurance. We have a cruise line saying, yeah, we can do it. If they can't do it, we can do it. And we also have news that protocols might start easing very shortly. So that's a lot of news. So first news story, let's talk about insurance. It's still a big question. Even myself, who's booked hundreds of cruises, even the insurance policies right now, you have to look and you have to research every individual company that you're booking the insurance and make sure it's covering COVID, make sure it's covering evacuation, make sure it's covering everything. Because when governments put like a do not travel on cruising or do not travel to Jamaica or Mexico, it can affect your insurance. So you say, well, you were told you shouldn't travel there, so we're not going to cover you. Well, one company out there, Atlas Ocean Cruising, says, you know what, we're going to include all of that insurance in our bookings from now on. It's automatically covered. Your evacuation, your medical, your legal, anything to do with your insurance for your trip, it's going to be covered in the insurance. And who knows, that could be the first, chip falling that cruise lines are going to start including this as well. As, travel insurance right now is up, but a lot of it's not being covered. So people are looking to the companies that are covering it, and they're getting most of the business. So if you are looking for insurance out there, these insurance companies may start going to the cruise lines and saying, okay, we're going to start covering this. Let's all make it all encompassing. And this is only a small cruise line. They only have a few ships, but it's a start. And we may see that insurance policy start to leak forward into the bigger cruise lines, which would be a really good thing for us to have worry-free insurance. Just put it in the price of my cruise and away we go. I don't have to worry about whether it's COVID or not, whether it's whether it's evacuation or not, whether it's medical or not. Just include it so I know I'm covered and I don't have another headache and something else to think about during my cruise. That's one thing. And now we have a cruise line. Remember that cruise line I just talked about a couple weeks ago that said, you know what? Testing, we were going to do testing in the ports, but it's just not logistical. It's just too hard to do. We're not going to do it. We're not going to test people at the cruise ports. We know it's only a 2-day test time window nowadays, but we're not going to do it. You can do the home test, and if you're not allowed to do the home test, like you're from Canada, well, you're going to have to figure it out on your own. We're not going to help you. It's just too hard. And I said, well, how is it just too hard? Because Norwegian Cruise Line can do it. They've been doing it in Europe. How is it not possible for the biggest cruise line in the world not to be able to do it in North America? Well, Royal Caribbean just came out and said, yeah, you know what? We can do it. And they will be doing it for their cruise ships as well. So it's not meant to be everybody book it. It's not meant for everyone to show up and need a test. It's meant for those people, for instance, who have to travel great distances. For people whose test gets canceled at the last minute. You book a test with the pharmacy. For some reason, the pharmacy closes that day or can't do the test for you that day, and you're stuck. That's what it's meant for. You will need to make an appointment. The way it will work is you'll call them up. You'll make an appointment 24 hours before your cruise. It'll be for about a half hour before your scheduled arrival time at the cruise port. We all know now they're doing very, staggered start times. They don't want people who are scheduled to come in at 3 o'clock to show up at 11, right? They don't want that. They want people to spread it out so it's not all congested at the cruise port all at once. Well, if your time to go is to get on the ship at noon, your scheduled appointment will be about 11:30. You'll show up, you'll get your test done, you'll have to wait. If you are negative, on you go to the ship, you can do your boarding process. If you test positive, you're denied. There's no There's no second test. There's no third test. It's one and done. So it is a risk to wait until you travel all that distance to get your test. So if you, if I were you, I would try and get it done at home. But at least they now say you have a last-minute resort. If something happens, you can still get a test done at the cruise port. So if you're that family that showed up and said, hey, we have all antigen tests. Oh, but wait a minute, that child needed a PCR test because they're unvaccinated. At least there's a place to go now. At least you have a last resort. And that's all we have ever really asked of the cruise lines is to give us that leeway if something happens. Don't leave it all on us. Well, before I get into the next news story, let me just invite you to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Doesn't cost anything. It really does help the channel. We'll keep you up to date with all the new protocols, all the new ship starts, all the new port openings, and any new restrictions that may be coming down the line. Like I said, it really helps the channel out, and I would really, really appreciate it. So we have had that conference recently where a lot of the cruise lines got together and they were talking about the protocols. What protocols are going to stay, what protocols are going to go. And one of the things that I was also hearing on my cruise when I was on the Majestic Princess is that at the end of October, so October 31st, there may be some easing of restrictions. And I think a lot of us would like to see maybe that mask mandate disappear. You know, in the cold weather, it wasn't so bad. But in the hot weather, I can see, like when you're heading, say, the Panama Canal or you're heading into the Caribbean, I can see the mask is very uncomfortable. I really enjoyed my cruise on the Celebrity Edge when I didn't have to wear a mask. Now, is it any safer? I'm not going to get into that. Really, it's a decision. I will go either way. I feel pretty safe being fully vaccinated and getting that test done ahead of time, only 2 days ahead of time. In fact, on my last cruise, I ended up getting tested over 4 times during a 16-day period. So I feel pretty safe that way. Now, I would love to see the mask mandate disappear on the cruise ship, at least in certain situations, like sitting in the theater once you're seated, little things like that. One of the ones that they say will probably never go away right now is their new sanitation, the new filtration systems, the air purifiers, all those things that they've now done where they've set the airflow. They used to sometimes set it to 20% and 30% of outside air and the rest was all recycled. Now they're almost 100% recycled air from the outside. So much fresher air, much less chances of anything spreading that way. Plus the new filter systems, you know, HEPA air filters and things like that. All those things are really good for the industry, for them to keep them up. And that will even help with little things like the norovirus. And I know a lot of people think norovirus is hugely spread on cruise ships, and it's not. It's not even close to the #1 spread of norovirus in the United States. The #1 place is schools and hospitals and restaurants. So cruise ships are just, because they have to report it, and it usually makes a headline news someplace, that's why people are drawn to the attention of a norovirus outbreak on a cruise ship. But it's far less people catch it actually on a cruise ship than you can catch it going to your hospital or your local school. So, yeah, that's some good things. But let me know, here's my question to you. Of all the protocols out there, which one would you like to see go first? The capacities, the social distance, bringing back some of the shows that they aren't allowed to do right now because there's too much close contact, you know, the game shows, things like that. Or would you just like get that mask policy? I would like to see that disappear. Would you like to see the more kids being allowed on some of the cruise ships? Let me know in the comments down below what's important to you. Which restrictions do you want to see ease first? I have a feeling the cruise lines #1 would be the mask, because I think once they announced that everyone had to wear a mask on board, that's when those bookings started to go boop, 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 boom. dropping down, and people started looking into later next year and the year after to try and make sure that they think that the mask will be gone by then. Fingers crossed that, I mean, the cases are on their way down again in the United States. The cases have gone the way down in Canada. Let's hope it stays that way and we can get some of these restrictions easing and it doesn't have another big bubble during the winter, and we can start seeing cruising getting back to more normalcy month after month after month. That would be a great thing for the cruise lines. Well, I hope you appreciate the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel blogs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.